Hello everyone, welcome back to Smart Move Insider, a place where we talk about fitness, community and making progress inside and outside the gym. I'm Sergio here with head coach Bart, and today we're going to talk about Hyrox. Recently, Bart went on a Hyrox competition with a few friends and they had a great time. So how did this all happen? Are you turning Hyrox?
If I'm turning into a Hyroxer? No. I just went to an event, just like some people go to a Spartan race, just like some of you are going to the marathon in Cluj. Going to the marathon doesn't make you a runner only. It depends. Are you identifying as a CrossFitter or a marathon runner just because you go to the marathon? I don't know. It's not. CrossFit will still and always be my preferred way of staying in shape. But I think a lot of times people ask that question because they only identify themselves as a CrossFitter when they compete in CrossFit. But as we talked in other episodes, it's two different worlds, training for CrossFit or training to compete in CrossFit. So now I'm not a CrossFit competitor, but I do train CrossFit to stay in shape because it's fun.
And around Hyrox is a big hype now because if you're in the fitness world, you might have heard this name. So when did you first time hear about the Hyrox? And take me through when the idea of going to such a competition came.
Well, it started with me attending aerobic capacity course in Amsterdam last year in May. And that course was given by Chris Hinshaw. For people that don't know Chris Hinshaw, it's like a famous name in the CrossFit world. Is the guy that is specialized in endurance, and he trained personally a lot of the CrossFit Games winners, like Tia Claire Toomey, Rich Froning, Jason Kalipa, Matt Fraser, Jeffrey Adler. So these are all CrossFit Games champions that searched out his help to get better at endurance, because also in the CrossFit Games, it's always a long endurance event somewhere. It can be a bicycle ride. They have run 8 kilometers. They have done many things long distance. So you need to specifically train for that, because in CrossFit, we're used to short and intense, but there is also a place for slow and steady. So in his course, he explained that CrossFitters are in love with intensity, but that's just part of the equation. The average person is 50% fast twitch fiber and 50% slow twitch fiber, and you only get good at what you do often. So if you constantly do these high intensity workouts, it's mostly on the fast twitch fiber side.
So it's 50-50?
It's not exactly, but to make it easy, it's about there for the most average. Some people, of course, they lean more to the other side, and some people more to the fast twitch fiber.
You love more one side or the other. What are the fast twitch fiber, the explosive?
The explosive movements, the sprints, the power cleans, the short duration metcons. Slow twitch fiber, then see it as like a more of a longer event, 20 minutes plus. Stuff like that, something that you need to train for specifically. So
more to the endurance
so
side.
You need a bit of, to the endurance side, slow and steady work. So that's what he wanted to explain. Like, okay, if you're always on the intensity side, you're leaving 50% of your, how do you say it, your potential untouched. So you're only training 50% of the engine that you have. So that course, he talked about this stuff, like, okay, you need to train the base of the pyramid. The base of the pyramid is the slow twitch fibers. If the slow twitch fibers are developed enough, they will help you when it's moment to go hard. So when you're going hard in a Metcon, you probably felt the moment where your legs, for example, start getting heavy, and you start to slow down. Simultaneously with that, usually your heart rate goes up. It's lactic acid building up in your legs. The better you train those slow twitch fibers, the longer you can maintain a high intensity, and the longer it takes before the lactic acid starts building up and you eventually need to slow down. So it has this it has its uses to spend some time there. It's not always very exciting, slow and steady, because when we're training slow and steady, we're still able to talk to each other. It's more about the duration of the effort than it's about the intensity of the effort. But it trains your body in a certain way that will benefit you when you do those fast metcons, those explosive moves. So it contributes to each other.
So let me see if I got this straight. So fast fibers, slow fibers. It would help me to have my slow twitch fibers trained, because if I start a metcon and I'm going really hard from the start, like I want to be first, I'm in a competition with myself or in a real competition, and I have the sensation that my legs are getting cramped and then my heart rate is through the roof, that's the moment the slow twitch fiber kick in. Do you understand? Good.
The slow twitch fiber help you prolong that moment. Eventually, you always get to that moment. Imagine it as a red line. It's the
So you
lactate
push it forward.
threshold line. So if you go over that line, you can, but usually it will last 90 seconds to 2 minutes. The easiest way to explain you is maybe with running. You can run at the very fast tempo over your limit, but only for a small amount of duration. So 90 seconds, 2 minutes. After that, your body's going to start sending you signals like mayday, mayday, mayday. Lactic acid builds up, your legs, the cramp starts to come, you start slowing down, your body shuts you down. You can train that line is higher, and the higher it is, the fitter you are, the faster you can run for a longer duration at a certain tempo. So, for example, I started this Zone 2 training like in June. I started at a threshold of 429 per kilometer at a heart rate around 165 beats. Now today my threshold is 355 per kilometer at around 177 beats per minute. So it's about a 30 seconds pace increasement just from doing that slow and steady work. So my red line moved a little bit higher. So you can train your body to move that red line.
I understand now.
I see it as the dead zone on Mount Everest. You can be there, but only for a limited amount of time. So it's very good to know your threshold. It can help you also in your metcons to know a little bit where is my red zone, that you can do it by feeling, maybe you can do it by heart rate monitor to know, okay, if I stay at this heart rate too long, I'm going to have to rest. So you want to get close to the limit, but not go too far over the limit for too long.
I understand. So the course was pretty good in making you understand how to approach this.
Yeah, he explained us how to train for it. What does Zone 2 training mean? How do you implement it practically? How do you progress it? And like I have with any subject, I prefer to feel it myself. You can read a lot of things online, but only by really doing it yourself, you're going to have a real opinion about it. And I had the same approach on the Hyrox. So in the course, the trainer Krishin Shah, he was in the beginning stages of starting to work together with Hyrox because it's in his field. Hyrox is an endurance event. I see it like a long CrossFit endurance metcon. That's how I see it. This is something that could be easily programmed into class on an endurance day. So I see it like that, like a benchmark, like when we do Cindy, Murph once a year, we do DT, just to see where our fitness is at. Hyrox can also be one of those. So I have heard about it, but then he started talking about it, that he's starting to train athletes to be better in their Hyrox races, and that he was developing the aerobic course that I went to, the general aerobic course, but to change it a little bit with more specific details for people into Hyrox. So you had the Hyrox endurance now separate, and he has the aerobic capacity course separate. So same course, but more for the Hyrox audience.
And you went to this course because you wanted to help you with CrossFit, right? Or your personal things, not even thinking about Hyrox at the time,
it was nothing to do with Hyrox at that moment. I wanted to just...
So he pitched you.
He pitched me the Hyrox, yeah.
Wow.
So I wanted to...
If anybody from CrossFit knows about this, they should stop him. He's a disciple.
He's turning people to the dark side. No, I was following this guy for many years, and I was doing his running program, usually from after winter, around March, April, I would start running twice a week, all the way till November or till it became under zero. Then I stopped running for winter. That's what I did in the last 5-6 years. So I was always running twice a week because I was listening to him on podcasts, and he was already saying like, okay, this slow and steady work will help you be a general fitter you. It will also help you in your metcons. Over the years, I've been following different type of programmings, because I like to be up to date about what's happening out there. What's Matt Frazier doing? What's Ben Bergeron programming? What's this famous coach programming? And I already saw that Frazier, he was already, because he's working with Hinshaw, he was already doing 2 hours of zone 2 work minimum in his programming every week. He would just do it on the bicycle, not necessarily on the run, but he would do standard 2 times per week, 1 hour bicycle in zone 2 next to his run training. So I was already knowing about it, and that's why I started running, to see a little bit how it would affect my Metcon times.
Mm-hmm. And you were pretty satisfied about the result?
Yeah, every time I was doing the running back then, it would start with a 1 mile test. And after 3-4 months, my 1 mile time would drop by 1 minute. So it would directly show on general endurance. So, and it was interval work, sometimes slow and steady, but most of the time interval work. So then I got more curious now, and also because to maintain the level 3, I have to follow some courses, and I thought this was a good opportunity now that he was in Europe to go and follow this guy's course. And there I got, for the first time, more informed about zone 2 work, because the program I followed from him so far was more interval style, which had its benefits as well. But now I got intrigued, so I did more research, and basically the goal of the zone 2 is, okay, there are different ways to calculate it, but he follows the Maffetone formula, which is 180 minus your age. So to keep it easy, let's say I'm 40, 180 minus 40, my zone for zone 2 is 140, 5 beats up, 5 beats down. So when I run, I try to keep my heartbeat between 135 and 145 on average, somewhere there. The goal of the zone 2 is over time to run at the same heartbeat but faster. So you can imagine that is very beneficial if I can first start at 145 beats per minute and I run 6 minutes per kilometer. If I can push that up to a 430 and run a minute and a half faster while still being zone 2, while still being able to hold a conversation, obviously I'm getting fitter. Obviously, then I'm going to push the pace to higher tempos, it's going to help me. Mm-hmm. So I was just curious of, is it true that it helps so much? Because also online, like with any system, you have people that say it's bullshit, and you have people that are very big believers. There are triathlon world champions that were running 4 minutes per kilometer in zone 2, which is very fast. Like for most of us, that's like our fastest tempo, and this guy can still talk, so he can go faster.
Wow, imagine that.
So that sounded amazing to me. So I like to do self-experimentation, so I wanted to try it.
And I know you started with a group of people doing this. So there were some people at the gym, and you tried an experiment and see if this can be applied to you and multiple people. And what I know from that is that you had multiple people with different fitnesses, let's say. Mm-hmm. So can anybody start this zone 2? Even if I'm, for example, never did run training before?
Yeah, and it's applicable to anybody because it will feel easy because you did it.
Yes.
You're running, but it's not hard, right? It's not supposed to feel hard. It's more about regularity in running and slowly building it up.
No, and as a CrossFitter, I would like to push it from the start. But looking at the watch, you need to stay in. For me, it's 145 to 155 maximum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're younger than me, your zone is a bit higher. Yeah.
So it's nice. It's like a walk.
That's what I also started appreciating about it, was that 1, it feels easy, but 2, I know that it's going to lead to something bigger. I'm doing something easy, but later on, when I'm going to do the hard work, it's going to benefit me, this easy work. And the second thing that I liked about it is that in meanwhile, I'm recovering maybe from my CrossFit training the day before. So I started doing one day in the gym, one day run, one day in the gym, one day run. So I would go 3 or 4 gym sessions and 2 or 3 runs a week. In the beginning, 2. And I slowly, when I got close to competition, it went more towards 3. But let's say 2. So it's like an active recovery. So it also helped me recover from lifting the weights before. So these are the 2 things that I liked about it.
Very cool.
So yeah.
Let's go forward and tell the people what is Hyrox and what does it stand for.
So Hyrox is it's an event. Also here there are different opinions about it. Is it a training style or is it an event? In my opinion, for now, it's an event. So just like Spartan Race is an event, they don't give you a training schedule. They don't do like follow this program. In my opinion, CrossFit helps you to get ready for any type of event. The only difference is if I go to a Spartan or if I go to a Hyrox, I also need a minimum amount of strength and cardio, which the CrossFit comes in, but it's also 60% it's running. So I need to do a minimum of running also on the side. But it's not like I'm training Hyrox now. No, I'm doing CrossFit, I'm doing some running, and together everything supplements to get me ready for this event. So to come back to it, Hyrox is an event. So it started in 2017 in Germany, but now, so it's not even 10 years old. So it's pretty young still. So they're still in development. And it's spread from being organized only in Germany. Now we're already worldwide. With every year, there are new countries that do their first Hyrox race. Like now soon, I will go to a Hyrox race in Belgium because I'm going to visit family. And it's the first time they do it in Belgium.
All right.
So what is Hyrox? So Hyrox, it's a race where you will run 8 times, and after each 1 kilometer run, there will be a workout there. I will tell you what the workouts are. So after every run, there is a station. So the stations are 1,000 meter ski erg, 50 meter sled push, 50 meter sled pull, 80 meter burpee broad jumps, 1,000 meter row, 200 meter farmer's carry, 100 meter sandbag lunges, and 100 wall balls. So you run, you do a station. You run, you do a station. So
every time you go to a competition, it's exactly the same?
It's exactly the same. Just like every time you do the marathon, it's 42.5 kilometers. It's every time the same.
Okay, so it's standard.
It's a standard format. So that has its advantages, of course, because you know exactly what you're training for. There are a couple of ways that you can participate in a race. You can go solo, where you will just do all this work by yourself. You can go in a team and doubles team, so man, woman, woman. Or you can go in a mixed man-woman team. Or there is a fourth option, a relay team, where you go together with 4 people and then each does 2 stations and 2 runs. You divide wherever you want. So when we first thought about it, when I saw it the first time, I looked at it and I thought, for the first experience, I don't think I want to do this alone. Let's find a partner, and like that you can run together, and then you split the work on the station. So we run the first kilometer together. We arrive at the ski erg. You do 250, I do 250, you do 250, I do 250. We go back on a run. So like that, just like we do in the regular workouts, when we have a team workout here at Smart Move, divide the work. Run together, divide the work. So I thought that would have been, as a first experience, the most interesting, the most engaging, work as a team. Don't suffer as much as you have to do all the work yourself. For most people, this race takes about 1 hour and 10 to 1 hour and a half. Although on the competition, especially for the guys that did it by themselves, I saw some people doing 1 hour 45 by themselves. The teams, they usually go a little bit faster.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to do, but it's fun, it's engaging. The events are nicely organized.
And do you have levels? Or is it the same weights or the same rest?
You have two levels. You have the open weights and you have the pro weights. So the pro weights are just on all the stations so with like weight a bit heavier.
Let's say.
You could say it's like scaled in Hyrox. Mm-hmm. So the first race I wanted to do was like, okay, let's test it out in teams and let's go with the lighter weights. and not directly jump in from the first time on the heavyweights. So to do it gradually, just to, put the toe in the water on the first time.
Was this a good decision?
I think for most people, that's what I would recommend them. Do a doubles and go for the lightweights, and then afterwards you can still go single and heavier, or go doubles and go heavier.
Okay.
It's just like what we advise when we do the Metcons in class. Don't directly put the RX weight on the bar. Work your way up to it. Prepare yourself and work your way up to it. Let your body adjust. Don't directly go full in. I think it will be the smarter way to go. Of course, you do what you want, but that's what I would advise.
It makes sense. So, how was the race? How did you feel? How much time did it last? Take us through the whole event.
Well, before I got to Vienna, we had a bit of a pre-story. We were going to go with like 6 or 7 teams to Valencia first in November. So we started running in summer. We started meeting on Saturdays for some team workouts, a bit Hyrox specific, where we would run. You would test out the station so you could feel a little bit your teammates' tempo, how you would divide the station reps to get used to pushing sleds, pulling sleds, get used to the ski erg. But then, as most of you probably followed the news, in November, Valencia had floods.
Big floods.
And the event got cancelled. So we had to then, they cancelled it and then they moved it to March. So we had to look a little bit as a group what we were going to do. And then decided realistically that majority will not keep on running twice a week during winter. And then if you don't run during winter all the way till March, you're going to lose all the run conditioning you build up and you're back to zero. So all that running you did from August till November, it will be gone. So we decided just to ask for a refund and then to maybe look for another race like later in the year around summer or September or October, somewhere there. And have a bit of a prep again before going there 3-4 months, start to run again and meet on Saturdays. After we got the refund, I started thinking like, okay, I was pretty happy with my running results, my running progress till that point, and I didn't want to let it go to waste. So I decided to keep running through winter, maintain it and even improve it. And I started looking on the calendar, and then I decided to book a spot to go to Vienna, which was by coincidence the Open European Championship. So where the only disadvantage was that the best guys will pop up there. So in my heat was like the first and the second place were world champions that took the spots. They were really fast on the run. So that was the only disadvantage of picking that one for my first race. But anyway, we decided to go to Vienna. Manchu Kalin, Paul Shumalian, and Max, our trainer, Max Ophalvens. So 2 teams. We decided to go there. Vienna is a nice location, so took the plane on Friday morning. The race was going to be on Sunday, so that left us Friday and Saturday to just walk around, have some drinks, go to some restaurants, chill a bit. Because one of the nice things of going to events like this, especially in group, is that it's not only about the race, it's also about just hanging out with friends, with people that have the same mindset like you, that like the same things. Visit a city, a little bit of a city break, a little bit of relaxation, do the race, afterwards chill a bit more. So it's just a nice weekend as well. So when we arrived, the first day on Friday, we did a pre-check-in. So they organized in like Intersport, a big sports shop in the center. They organized so you could already go check in. And then this is to avoid you standing in line a lot, because you could wait till the day of the race. I could have gone on Sunday to check myself in, but then the line would be very long, and I prefer to do the check-in before. So on race day, I can focus on warming up and racing and not doing this admin bullshit. So we went to the shop there, the Intersport, and what they do on checking is they check your name. They give you an ankle bracelet that you're going to have to put around your ankle. This will track your time on the course, and it will track that you run the right amount of laps around the course, that you go to the right stations, that you stay together with your partner. They write you a number on your arm, your start number, and after you're checked in, you will be able to see on the site what your start hour will be. So after the check-in in the evening, we saw that Max and Kalin were going to have the race at 10:30, and me and Paul an hour later.
In the same day?
In the same day, yeah, both on Sunday, so back to back.
Nice.
So on Sunday, we got there early enough to see Max and Kalin warm up and start their race.
Were you nervous?
Surprisingly, no. Probably one reason is I'm going there with a realistic goal for me. Our goal was, according to what we saw happen in training, to try to run as close as we can to 4-minute kilometers for the entire race. And I already know that the best Hyroxers were going to show up. The best European Hyroxer was going to show up, and they run 3:30s. So there is no reason to be nervous because I am going to win. But what I can do is try to get to my goal. And our goal was, okay, if we run 4-minute kilometers, get the race done under 1 hour. So that's probably one of the reasons I wasn't nervous. I know what I did in training. I know what I did the last days. I know I can run that tempo, and I'm just going to try now in this environment to actually do it. Mm-hmm. And I think for Paul was the same. There were no nerves. So we arrived there. Manchu and Max warmed up. We followed them through the first 4 stations. I made some videos. You probably saw it on the stories. We saw them. I saw them at the ski erg. I saw them at the sled push, sled pull, and the burpee broad jumps. By that time, we're in the middle of the race, so we're 30 minutes in, and then it was my time to start warming up myself, because 30 minutes later I was about to start. And I prefer my ideal scenario to be warmed up with 5 to 10 minutes before start of race. So went for the last nervous pee. Started warming up, did 10 minutes on the treadmill, because you have a warm-up area where you have treadmills, sleds, wall ball stations. So all what you will see in the race, it's ready there. So went 10 minutes on the treadmill, finished with some sprints at race tempo, did some dynamic stretching. Me and Paul tested out the sled push and the sled pull, because we tried it in the gym, but in the gym on that rubber floor, it feels double as hard. So we tried it there on the mat, and it was easier than we thought. 150 kilograms on the push and 100 kilograms on the pull. And before the race, we had the idea of one lap is 12.5 meters, and our strategy was you do half, then I take over, I do half, and we keep alternating until we do 50 meters together. But when we felt the sled there, we decided you do a full lap, I do a full lap. And that actually resulted during the race. The sled pull went so fast, I think we had the 7th fastest sled pull of the entire day.
Wow.
Because we used only arms and not like a squat and a pull. We went very fast through those weights. So you just imagine that the event had 6,000 participants. Every 10 minutes, a new heat starts. So at 20 past 11, a heat starts. We started 10 minutes later at 11:30, 10 minutes later, 11:40, another 30 people. So another 15 teams go in. So imagine you're in a very big hall, and to get 1,000 meters, you need to run 2 times around the hall. Then you have 1,000 meters. And then from the side, from a box, like a Red Bull box, there are every time like 15 teams waiting, and they enter. When we entered, at a certain point, you're on one line maybe with 50 people, because you enter and we come to one line. It's a bit the feeling like, in Spain, when they let the bulls go and they go through the streets and they all come together and they're going to crush everybody that's in front of them. That's how it felt. So it took us a little bit, the first 500 meters, to get gone from this crowd. So when we started, Max and Kalin were in their last round, and we still high-fived them on the way past, because of course your first lap is the fastest. Mm-hmm. They were in their last, so we still passed them. And then the fun started. We kept our pace close to 4 minutes a kilometer.
That's really good.
Yeah, we reached our goal. So eventually we finished 1 hour and 1 minute, but we still reached our goal of under 1 hour. I'm going to tell you why, because on lap 5, we made a mistake. We ran, instead of 1,000 meters, we ran 1,500 meters.
How was that possible?
I think everybody can relate, especially when and I'm going to tell you, my average heart rate for an hour was 180. So I was close to threshold. So if I go a bit higher, I'm going to blow up my engine. So I was close to red line the entire time. And just imagine, like, I bet everybody have felt this. You're in a Metcon and you're thinking to yourself, am I around 9 or around 10? That's what happened. I all of a sudden, for no reason, started doubting, am I in lap? Did I run one time around the room, or is it already 2 times? Because at a certain point, you're focusing so much on your breathing to keep your heart rate down, to keep that same tempo, that you forget where you are. You're just focusing on your steps and on your breathing.
And when was this?
In the 5th lap.
In the 5th lap, so close to the end.
Just over halfway.
Over halfway, yeah.
So the 5th of 8 runs, I made a mistake. Paul wanted to go in, and I said, are you sure? I think we need to do one more. So the thing is, if you run 1 lap too little, you will get a penalty after the race of 3 minutes. At the tempo we were running, 4 minutes a kilometer, 1 lap took us 2 minutes. So I was like, fuck it, let's do another lap. At least if we run 1 too little, it's 3 minutes. If you run 1 too much, it's 2 minutes extra.
2 minutes, yeah.
So the only problem with that is, just imagine running 1,000 meters close to your limit, or running 1,500. It did make a difference in how I felt after. Recovery-wise, my heart rate was really high because we kept that. We ran those 3 laps in 6 minutes. So the tempo didn't go down, but the recovery got impacted after. So that's why I think without that lap, I bet we could have gone 2.5 minutes less, a little bit faster on all the stations, and then 2 minutes less of running. So for us, we know that we could have done a 58:30. We didn't do it officially, but I know we were capable of it, and that was all I wanted to know to set my next goal for the next race. So we finished 18th out of 107 teams in our age group, but without the mistake, we would have been 14th.
Congratulations, that's really good.
Yeah, would have been. It's unexpected good placement for our first Hyrox.
Yes.
But I liked how it went. We set a realistic goal. On the running, the top guys, they were still ahead of us. We still have work to do to get even close to that. But on the stations, we were top 10 times on the stations. These guys were not faster than us. Only on the burpees, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's not my favorite. That's why I held back. I should have pushed a bit harder there.
Okay.
So all those things.
Ski erg, I imagine it goes fast. Also.
Yeah, the same. Ski erg feels like a rower, so it's about the same tempo. You pull at 145 per 500 meters. It's a not super fast tempo, not a slow tempo. It's a medium tempo because you don't want to go too fast. The nice thing about the doubles is that if you do this alone, you're going to have to pace yourself much more. If you do this with a partner, it's more interval style. So we run together. Imagine we both then enter the ski erg station. My partner starts. I might have 45 seconds rest then, so I can recover a bit. And it's also, so it's easier on the recovery. You can do higher paced intervals. And doubles is also a bit about strategy. For example, on the burpees, I hate burpees. So I did 3 to 5 maximum. Paul went 6 to 10. And then we switched. So just like we do in the class workouts, it's not about ego here. It's about what are our strengths and weaknesses and what are we going to do on every station that gets us past the station the fastest so we can run at as high tempo as we can together. So if that means that my partner does more burpees and I push more sled, if that's the fastest as a team, that's how we're going to do it. So that's what makes it very similar to team workouts in CrossFit, that get to the end as efficient as a team as you can, depending on your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, definitely you get some experience from that, from working out together with somebody and playing on your strengths it's always the key.
Yeah, you always have somebody that's maybe stronger and the other one has maybe better cardio, so or has more leg endurance. Maybe he should do more lunges. So it's a nice combo. The easiest station for us was the farmer's walk, which became a farmer's run. Just take the kettlebells and run with it. It was just
And do you think
200
if
meters.
the kettlebell would have been a bit heavier?
Oh, then I had to walk.
Yeah.
With the pro weights, that would have been 32 kilogram kettlebells. That would have not been a run.
So 64 kilos.
Now it was 2 of 24. With that, I can run. With 32s, I'm going to have to do fast walking.
And how are the pros handling that? They are walking it?
They're running it. They're running it. Yeah. You get used to it, so you just need to start doing farmers runs with the 32s. But we only went with 28s and 24s. 32s, that's heavy. But you get used to it, I guess.
It is for sure. And I kind of guess why the burpees are kind of the hardest station is because it's another aerobic exercise.
Yeah.
Fast.
Imagine running, burpees running.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the cherry on the pie, if you ask me. Burpee broad jump, if you never did it, I suggest you try it. Just do 10 and jump as far as possible. You're going to feel it.
That's why I didn't want to do 10 because then I'm going to die.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing was, it seemed like endless because it was like one long mat on the entire length of the entire room because it was 80 meters. And the rest is very short. It's not like I have a minute rest because those 5 to 8 burpees that he does is over just like that. And I have to go again. But overall, it was a fun event. It showed us where we stand. Like I said before, this is for me like a fitness test, a benchmark workout, just like doing a Murph. Okay, I know I have the potential for 58.5 probably now. The goal now is seeing that on the stations we're pretty okay in comparison to these guys that do this for a long time, to see if instead of a 4 minute per kilometer tempo, if we can do a 3:45. So this is our goal in the next 6 months, to train the running to a point that I can sustain 8 times 3:45. Because if we can do that, that will deduct 3 minutes of our time, and we will be in the 55-minute range. And in a lot of these competitions, the 55-minute range is top 7. So it's a goal now.
And in Belgium, when you go, it's going to be in the same manner. We're going to go with Paul, or are you going to go alone? Are you going to go at pro, or are you going to go at the scale, let's say?
I'm going to go at the scaled, and I will have another partner. I'm going to go with Max, because he's also going to visit family in meanwhile.
Okay.
So it's going to be a bit of a different approach there, because Paul and me, we're at the same tempo on the run, so we can really push the run. With Max, he's not as fast on the run as me, so I will going to have to adapt to his tempo of running. So most likely our strategy will be a bit different from the point of view that we're going to run as fast as Max can push the pace. And for him to be able to keep repeating that pace means probably that I'm going to have to do a little bit more work on the stations and maybe do 60% of the stations and he does 40%, so he can recover more before he has to run that fast. Okay. Because for him will be against his red zone, but his red zone is not my red zone. For me I will not be so tired after the run running at that tempo, so then I need to compensate by going harder on the stations and maybe do more work there. Then he can recover and continuously keep that. We're going to aim for a 4:30 tempo.
Wow, that's impressive. So it sounds like you have a plan. What was the plan in Vienna? Who was following who?
The plan was to run 4-minute tempos. And Paul looks like he has a little bit left in the tank. So I was following Paul the entire time. So I was like 5 to 10 meters behind Paul, trying to hang on to that tempo. Because Paul looks like he could handle a 350 already.
So he had another gear.
Paul looks like he has an extra gear on the run, on the stations. Besides the burpees, we looked like we suffered similarly. But I think he could have gone like 10 seconds per kilometer faster. So I will try to catch up to that tempo in the next 6 months. And then our aim is 55 minutes.
I have another question. Do you think if you have a faster partner, the faster partner should be in front or behind? You would work better if you would be pushed or pulled? What's your...
Before the race, I would have said the faster partner should be behind, But now after the race, I would say the faster partner should be in front, but keeping in the corner of his eye the distance to see. He should force the slower partner to run at his close to his limit, but just under, that like that threshold line I told you about. You don't want to go in Mount Everest dead zone. You want to stay just under. So, but you can figure that out in training before. What is both red zone? As long as he's aware of it, then he will be a motivating factor for the guy in the back to keep the tempo that I know you can hold.
Yeah.
Because I know if I would have been in front, I might have gone down to a 4:10 tempo instead of pushing to that 4-minute tempo.
That was what I was thinking of. You might play it in a safe zone if you would left to pick.
Yeah.
But if the guy is in front of you, it's going to be like a magnet pulling you after him. But indeed, he needs to be somewhere close, because
he needs to be aware.
With the magnet analogy, if the magnet is too far, it doesn't have any strength. So it needs to be right there, a bit ahead of you.
Yeah, a bit ahead, but not too much.
Because it's going to be demoralizing if you don't see.
Exactly.
It's gone.
But as long as he kept it the 5 to 10 meters, it was enough motivation for me to keep pushing that tempo. But also something that you can practice in training to see how that goes, because maybe it depends from person to person. Maybe some people do get demoralized by having to constantly chase. So it depends a little bit, but I would definitely go on the next race in the same style, like, okay, give the tempo, and when we arrive at the station, I will tell you if it's too fast.
You will see it on my face.
yeah. Although
I'm gonna swear you.
Although the people on the side say that we both quite have a poker face, that it didn't look like we suffered that much, but I told you I was at 180 beats the entire time.
That's not a pleasant.
That was uncomfortable.
Yeah,
but
indeed.
If you're aiming for a good time, you need to run against that threshold, and trust that your fitness is good enough that you will recover on the stations.
Okay, so switching gears here now. Why do you think this sport is so hyped now? Why do you think it's so popular?
I think one reason is the standard format, just like a marathon, like people going back to a marathon. For some people, especially CrossFitters that are used to every day something else, some of them might think, okay, this is boring. It's always the same thing. But for many people, knowing what to expect actually motivates them and actually makes it, from a programming point of view, much easier to train for it, because you know exactly what's coming. That's what makes competing CrossFit so difficult programming wise, because you're training for the unknowable. You need to be good at everything, and to be good at everything you need to train a lot of things at the same time. That makes something like this easier. It's predictable, easier to train for. And just like I said before, I see it like a benchmark, because it's every time the same thing. Imagine you do 2 Hyroxes a year, or even one. From race to race, you can see your progress. You can set yourself goals. You can tweak a little bit your strategy, because after the race, because of the chip, you'll get a very detailed breakdown of run 1 was this fast, the ski erg was done in this time, run 2 was this time. So you can very good analyze where were my strengths and weaknesses in the stations, where did my running started slowing down, and then you can prepare yourself maybe in another way next time, or have different strategies. I think this is one of the things that appeal to people. It's accessible, because none of it is high skill work like in CrossFit competitions. That's what CrossFit competition scares a lot of people. You get an entire list of things that you're supposed to be able to do. Like people that follow CrossFit competitions, local ones, you will say, okay, for this division, 30 kilogram snatch, 50 kilogram clean, keeping pull-ups, handstand push-ups. And there will be something in that list that somebody will say, I'm not going because I don't have handstand push-ups. I'm not going because I don't know how to do a bar muscle up. They can do anything else from that list, but that one thing, and then they say no.
Yep.
This is one of the things that makes Hyrox more accessible, because none of the things that you're doing there is technically too difficult, not even if you have never done it in your life. I can teach you on the spot. just before the race how to do it, and you'll do it. It will not be a problem. So the accessibility to still be in this competitive environment, the step into the door is easier because it's nothing complicated. It's endurance, and it's about it's grunt work.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are the two main things. Besides then that the team thing is very popular because it's engaging. Like I talked to you about, it's engaging. You go with a friend, we're making strategy. You suffer, I suffer. Mid-race, the strategy changes. I see you need an extra rest. I row another 250 meters so you can rest a bit more. You go from point A till the finish together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a thing that makes it fun as well, and why a lot of people sign up.
Yeah, and I agree. There are many concepts of competitions in the world, but this single one, it launched to the stars. So everybody wants to try it. We saw this year a lot of CrossFit athletes trying it, and they performed really, really good. The champions,
Yeah.
Tia Claire Toomey, Jeff
Newbury.
Newbury, yeah.
And what is
Matt
it?
Fraser.
Matt Fraser also, and the one that got suspended, Ricky Gerard also did.
Exactly.
The champion, I forgot his name, the one that was champion now in that most recent one, Sprague, he also did one. So yeah, also the previous champion, the one with the mullet, what's his name, the curly hair mullet,
Medeiros,
Justin Medeiros also. And I think most of them said that it was a fun thing to do in the off season, in between CrossFit competitions, to have a little bit of an endurance focus and then do a race, have something to build up to. And that time where they focus a little bit more of endurance is not lost to them. Mm-hmm. It will still benefit them after then start putting the strength back, going back to the Metcons. That build-up endurance still transfers towards their Metcons. So it's not like they want to switch to Hyrox. It was just, it's a fun event. It's good to do a 3-month block of endurance focused. They still lift weights, but more endurance than in the other moments of the year, perhaps. And then I take my extra endurance with me to the next CrossFit competition as well.
Exactly. So let me ask you a question that is in everybody's mind. Why have you participated in Hyrox for your competition and you didn't choose a CrossFit competition?
Multiple reasons. One, I will ask you the question. What's the every sport has its ideal body type. Can you describe me in height and in weight the ideal CrossFit athlete?
It's pretty simple. You need to be in between 170, 175 max, and you need to be like 85 plus. And let's say the sweet spot would be 90, 95 in off season.
Yeah,
So
something like that.
Short
indeed.
and thick.
Yeah, short and like a square, 85, 90 kilos. Why short and strong? Because less distance to cover on the overhead, less distance to cover on the squats, still strong, still big engine. So, and now I'll describe me 100 to 104 kilos, 2 meters. I'm not the ideal body type to compete in this. CrossFit for me has always been to stay in shape and to do other things, just to stay in shape. It's a fun way to train. It's not, for me, it's two different worlds. Using CrossFit to stay in shape or training CrossFit to go to a competition. For me, it's not fun to... I know already in advance I'm in a disadvantage. For me to compensate the length, I need to be like 20% better cardio than all the rest. And it's already so hard to follow people cardio-wise as it is. Imagine that I have to be even better in cardio shape just to make up for covering more distance because I'm very tall. So no, for me it's not fun to go to a local competition and be in the back of the pack and already knowing in advance that there's nothing I can do about it. I can train all I want. It's too much to compensate for the body type I am. There is one guy that proves me wrong, but also only one. Huh?
Who is he?
What's his name? The Canadian?
Brent
Fikowski, 97, close to 100 kilos and 1 meter 95. It was the only one in CrossFit history that pulled that off.
Tommy Hackenbrook.
Was he that tall?
He was tall and heavier than the rest. Yeah.
Let's say only one that really showed like, okay, at the best level, like it's possible to compete with these short guys.
But I do know your scores, and I do know that you beat my ass in so many workouts, CrossFit related. So I'm 180 and I'm 80 to 85, let's say.
I guess it all depends on the workout. But let's say over general, I think if we do a competition of 2 days and there are 6 workouts, I'm going to have a hard time.
True.
But if I can pick the workout, I can probably compensate left and right. It has some endurance in it, has some rowing, some wobble, some heavy lifting. I might compensate left and right. If it's long enough, because I'm also more an endurance type of person. So when it goes long, I can hang on longer than when it's short and explosive. But yeah, but that's one of the reasons. The other reason is I'm going to be 43 in a month. If I want to compete, I know what it takes volume-wise to get ready for something like that. If I would want to go to a CrossFit competition, my body doesn't handle that type of volume anymore. The advantage of the preparing for the Hyrox was that I was, instead of 5 days a week in the gym, I was 3, well, in the beginning 4, but then the closer I got to competition, only 3 days lifting in the gym, CrossFit training, so lifting and doing a Metcon. And in the other days, I was spending time on zone 2, bicycle, running, and I was building my engine. And it was more low impact training, so easier on my body. So overall, if I prepare for a competition like that, my body handles it better, this type of volume, because it's still CrossFit training, it's just not as much. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is the archetype Hyrox athlete is above 185 tall and around 85, 90 kilos. So it's more close to my body type. I'm still too heavy now to compete with these guys because I'm 195 and I'm close to 100 kilos. So also my goal will be to see what will be the impact if in the next 6 months I go from 100 kilos to 95 kilos to see how fast I can run then. So my body type is more prone to this competition than it's to CrossFit competition.
Yeah, so I like this answer a lot, and I think it has a lot to do with the attraction of the sport. To be honest, this is one of the things I like about Hyrox, the archetype of the people who participate in the champions. I like taller people, let's say, and how the muscles are looking on the taller person.
They look athletic instead of the short square guy.
Buff, yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just got used to so much CrossFit and now this new thing is building people differently. But still, to train for Hyrox, you need to have like a big asset of work areas you should take care of.
Yeah, we need to train strength. We need to do Metcons. We need to do zone 2 work, running, cycling, whatever. So for me, Hyrox and CrossFit training is compatible. But yeah, for me personally, competing, Hyrox is more suitable for me than a CrossFit competition is. And yeah, I could go to a CrossFit competition and for the experience, but I know myself, I will not enjoy.
You will stand too much out when you're 2 meters and everybody's 160, 170. You will stand out.
I will win the events when it goes long and it's a lot of endurance, or when it goes heavy. Those are the things I would be good at. But yeah, overall, no. And I would come broken out of a competition like that. I don't think I still have the recovery capability. Being over 40 to do 6 workouts in 2 days, I think I'm going to come injured out of that. In comparison to I come out of this Hyrox, that's just 1 hour. It's one let's say one long Metcon and over.
And how did you felt after the next few days?
2 days sore in the quads. The Hyrox exercises, the stations are very leg dominant. Almost everything is legs. A little bit of upper body, maybe on the row and on the ski erg. On the wobble a little bit, but it's mostly legs.
So just imagine having 4 days or 3 days of 3 events per day, similar to this.
No, impossible.
You would be in pain.
Impossible. No. And another thing that I wouldn't enjoy, like, okay, was this worth it? Now I can't train for a week and maybe even more, or I'm injured. just because I wanted to see if I can still do this. I am just realistic with myself. I can't do this.
You're gonna go to pee and you're gonna pee Coca-Cola.
Rabdo.
Exactly. So what's next? What happens from here?
So yeah, for me, I already said I have my personal goal. Me and Paul in 6 months run it faster, 3:45. So we'll train for that. But what's next for the gym is that I hope that one hearing this podcast intrigued you a bit. Maybe to try a Hyrox, because my personal view is you should try things and then make your opinion. And I can tell you out of my experience, I think most people will like it, even if you will only do one and done. But I think most people that will try one will try also a second one. That's what I think. So I hope that from hearing this podcast, from hearing this story, maybe hearing the face-to-face stories from Kalin, Paul, and Max about their experience, that it gets you intrigued and that you say, maybe I would like to try one myself. What I would like is that this talk gives people the mood to try it and the motivation to train for it, because I believe very strongly that to keep yourself motivated to train, it's important to have a goal. And this could be a goal, like in 3 or in 4 months, I'm going to go to this Hyrox competition. In these 3 months, I'm going to dedicate myself to running twice a week, getting in the gym 3 times a week. And that is 5 trainings. For a lot of you, that might be training even more than you're doing right now. So it will give you a focus for your next training block to work towards something. And depending on, I'm gonna, after this podcast get posted, I'm gonna check a little bit the interest. I'm going to encourage everybody to listen to the podcast. I'm going to post on our Facebook group. I'm going to ask you guys if it sparked interest enough for you to be willing to join us. And then we can search together with as many people that are interested to maybe after summer or in summer to do a Hyrox race somewhere in a nice location. So like we talked before, it's not just about the race, it's also about hanging out with people with the same mindset, doing a little bit of a city trip, maybe staying at least 2 days longer there at the location. And then depending on, I'll make a plan for in the gym, and we'll come, how I see it is, perhaps we come together on a Tuesday and a Thursday, we meet at the gym, we go together for our zone 2 run. During this period, you try to lock 3 trainings or 3 trainings a week in the gym where you do a Metcon, just do the general short, intense workouts together with some barbell work, get some strength in. Maybe one of the 3 is the endurance class in the middle of the week on Wednesday. Closer to the competition, we get together on a Saturday, so we can work a little bit in team, talk some strategy, try out a little bit of different type of Hyrox workouts that are similar to what you're going to feel on the race day, and then slowly we build up to the event. So I hope that it sparks enough interest for people to want to join these type of trainings. It's nothing that you didn't do before besides the constant 2 times a week running. That might be for some of you the big difference, but there we have a plan. Like we talked in the beginning of the podcast, it's easy. It doesn't get harder, you just get faster. It's just by consistency, the running will get better. Eventually, the running will turn into from zone 2 to intervals, which will be more intense, because also at the race you will run faster than zone 2. But it's a steady build-up just to get your running pace up. But if people show interest, I'm going to make a plan. I don't know exactly what the plan is. This is just me thinking out loud, but if there is interest for it, I think this can be a nice reason to train from, let's say, April till summer, get ready, go together on a little trip from a couple of days, come back with renewed enthusiasm and start a new training block. And who knows, maybe a second Hyrox race at the end of the year.
I think this would be a nice challenge for you. Also programming-wise, because you do all the programming for everything, almost everything in the gym. So preparing somebody for something that they know they should do and improve them would be the next challenge. Because for CrossFit, train for the unknowable, you already do a really good job for it. So Let's see
it
the
would be a
challenge.
fun challenge also programming wise indeed.
Yeah.
So let's see
yeah.
how many people are interested to do their first Hyrox race. Doesn't mean you're becoming a Hyroxer, it just means you're going to an event.
So, is there anything else you think you should add about the Hyrox subject?
No, if you guys have any other questions, you can just ask me or any of us in person, and then we can talk more about it. But I'll for sure, after the podcast is posted, I'll make an extra post on the group, and then you can also ask your questions in the comments.
So I think we can wrap this up. Bart, thank you for sharing your experience. I really hope that we're gonna get some people for the next event to join at the end of the summer, maybe. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the gym.